Hoof GP cuts.
In this video, we have a cow with...
Yeah. And here we go.
In this video, we have a cow with an incredibly
Poor
sore
baby.
front left foot, which gets really messy. We answer Graham's question and talk about why on earth these cracks form in the first place and whether they go up or down. This video features 2 cows and 1 smiling Hoof GP. And yes, cameraman Graham's here too.
And I won't let it rush when I see you dance, and the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow. I fall into you.
Despite living outside on the green grass of this southwestern Scottish farm, this cow has gone extremely lame. Her front left foot is causing her a lot of bother, and I'm hoping there's something we can do about it. So yeah, this cow is really sore on this front left foot. We spotted her in the pen and decided to film her because she's easily got the biggest problem. Like I said in the intro, these cows live outside on really green, lush, fertile grass, and despite that, she has still gone lame. Lameness is a problem in all animals, not just cows. Sheep, deer, elk, lions, rhinoceros. It's not limited just to bovines, and it's not limited to human interaction with them. Yes, the environments that they do live in can cause problems, but they still become lame through completely natural processes. The only difference is when it comes to cows, it matters massively commercially for farmers, because if cows are lame, it's not nice to look at, but it also means that they're far less productive, and that's no use to anyone. Cows that have lameness issues are less fertile, they don't eat as much, and therefore they don't rear as good calves or produce as much milk. So it makes no sense for farmers to have lame cows, which is why the vast majority of them do everything they can to make sure that they don't. Something has gone wrong here though, and this is probably the source of her lameness. I'm going to put this nozzle that we used to mix the glue with in between her feet, if I can, because her ligaments are really strong. And now I'm going to trim back these. She's got a problem. I knew she had a problem on her toe before she even came in, because she's walking on her heels in an effort to keep her toe off the ground, because that is where the problem is, which is exactly what you would do if your big toe was sore. You would walk on your heels. So yes, this is overgrown, but it's underworn more than overgrown, if that makes sense. I start by trimming that outer claw, the one that's not sore. I'm trying to get it back to exactly where it should be. And you can see the whole thing is tipping in, so I'm only really trimming the outer portion of it. So I trim it back to where it should be, flat and completely level.
So something I learned from the Hoof GP is, so their hooves are like this, right? Well, they're kind of concave, and so when they step, it pressures down. And so that's one of the things that they trim to keep better footing.
And the correct length before moving on to this inner claw and the toe portion of her foot. This is where the real problem is, but I need to reduce the entire claw because the whole thing is too high. You can see her flinching and kicking out because any interaction with this foot is really uncomfortable for her. And now that's done, we can get on with the real work, which is where the knife comes in. The right knife. Right, we'll model this area here out. You can see this is where the problem is here, but we'll ignore that for the time being. And do this model out, which is part of the routine part of the trim. We work to 5 steps, called the Dutch method. But obviously, if you are Dutch and you live in Holland or Belgium, you don't call it the Dutch method. You just call it functional hoof trimming, which to me makes a lot more sense. So nice. Model out this inner claw. You don't need to model it out quite so much. No.
Poor baby.
It's hard. You can see how hard it is. It's chipping off. Right, now we've done that. That's all of the routine part. Now we're going to work on here and see what on earth is causing so much pain. Oh, we've got a hungry visitor. Dogs absolutely love the taste of hoof trimmings. The only trouble for the farmer is you usually barf them all up on the living room floor later on. That's a problem for somebody else though. Right, here is...
pain is the patient's problem.
Come on, lass. Here's where the problem is. All that blackness is telling me there's been foreign objects in there. It could just be dirt, of course, or stones or something. But this is definitely where the problem is.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Whoa, that's whoa. Oh, bloody hell. There's pus, look.
Yep. It's infection. No wonder she's so sore. I got a block on.
Most of you may realise that I'm actually in more of a hurry than usual today. We have a lot on and we need to get through all of these cows before the next milking starts, so the pressure is well and truly on. All of that being said though, my absolute priority is the care of this cow, the cow that's in my crush right now, and that always remains the same, no matter whether it's a routine trim, a problem like this, or something completely out of the ordinary.
Whoa, lass, whoa.
This is really shaping up to be an incredibly sore foot. It's called toe necrosis, and it's when the inside of her foot is actually decaying and rotting away. It affects the bone inside the hoof capsule itself.
It's full, absolutely full to the brim of pus.
And that pus is mixed with the red stuff, leading to a sort of brown gunge. This is an incredibly sore foot,
And it's iodine.
and I'm hoping that what I've done can at least provide some pain relief. Problems like this do not completely heal. They are just managed over time with pain relieving medication and treatments like what you've just witnessed. And luckily for this cow, she is in the right hands and on the right place, because the farmer who owns this farm is one of the very best when it comes to hoof health. He has one of the lowest percentages of lame cows out of all of the farms we visit.
This cow is also definitely lame. I'm
Look
not
at
wanting
that.
to come in by the look of her face.
She's so pretty.
It's one of her back feet. Is that? Is it? I know she's lame because she's not walking well at all, but weirdly, because she was in the race, I can't tell which foot it is.
I mean, you got to do all of them anyway, so.
It's most likely this foot here.
Believe it or not, this is a common occurrence, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. It happens regularly that I know a cow is lame, but I'm not sure which foot she is lame on. I can tell when a cow is not walking fantastically, but when they're confined to a race, it can be very difficult to decipher exactly which foot they are feeling pain through.
Wow, one thing for sure, she definitely likes to kick. Right, we're gonna trim this back. It clearly is where the problem is, isn't it? A white line lesion. See how this problem is literally splitting the white line? You can actually see it following that white line right round here. So that problem is in between the white line, so the wall horn, and the sole horn. And the dirt, muck and manure is travelling up through that junction in the hoof horn and causing all sorts of problems for this cow. That big swipe of the knife there really removed a lot, didn't it? Just thin out the wall a little bit so it's easier. We're definitely going to put a block on this so we can thin the wall right out. It shouldn't matter too much because she doesn't need the structural integrity of it. I think it's peeling from up here. Let's just get a knife in there and just flick. Yeah, look at that. You can clearly see the leaves of hoof horn now. So all of that is going to come away. But it is attached partially attached inside the foot, so it can't just go crazy with it. You do need to take little pieces at a time, which is why I'm not just taking big massive swipes. I could take a lot more hoof on than I am with each swipe of a knife, but obviously I don't want to go too deep. And what happens is, as soon as the blade of your knife gets in behind that wall horn, it's soft. So if you're putting a lot of pressure through that and you get into that little, like behind the sort of wall horn itself, it's all soft. So as soon as your blade hits that, it just takes off and you can't stop it.
Yeah, be really careful and really precise. Look at that crack.
Using my sawing action again. What's everybody up to this weekend? I did a school visit tomorrow, actually. You'd assume a school visit would be about an hour's talk, wouldn't you? No, it's 4. 4 hours. 4 hours in a school. And I'm really glad to do it, to give back. In some ways I am, but 4 hours? Right.
Can I ask a question?
Nope. Oh. No, go on.
Do you see like a crack here?
Does that crack come through the bottom? Can sometimes like you're cutting them out? I feel I'm answering again in my head. I'm like, does it crack through the bottom up sometimes, or does it crack through the top down?
I also think I've maybe kind of thought of that in my head there.
Well, what's the answer then?
Well, right there you took that out, that crack out by cutting it away, so obviously it must have came to the top down. Oh, you don't know?
So the answer is it comes from the middle.
How?
So-
How? I've asked you this before, and I like, how can it?
How did it come from the middle?
Aye.
So, hold on, we'll get a block on first. Right, so the wall horn does not flex, it doesn't contort, it doesn't bend or stretch anything. Its whole job is to be as rigid as possible because the cow's sole, so the bit that we normally trim away, is not keeping the cow's foot up. She is hanging from the inside of that wall horn, believe it or not, so it cannot flex. So basically, when she gets slammed into by a piece of concrete, or when she's fighting or twisting or trips over something, a bruise forms in behind that wall horn. A bruise is inflammation, it's dying blood. It inflames, it swells up, and that swelling has to go somewhere, and depending on whatever the easiest route is, it'll go up and down usually and reach its culmination. So it bruises behind the hoof wall, that bruise swells up and bursts either through the top or through the bottom. So we never really know where it's come from. Does that make sense?
Aye, so is that like why if you're cutting away through the hoof horn you can find bruising and then you get to the end and the bruising disappears but there's still hoof horn there? So it's like why is the hoof horn bruising?
Yeah, exactly that, yeah, because the bruising can come from all different areas of the foot. It's not just from walking on it. Anyway, look how well this has turned out. Lovely. I can't take away those tiny little cracks because if I did, it's all soft and that everything. That will be lovely. Just be walking much more comfortably straight away. Right, 2 cows, 1 video. It's all gone rather well.
No matter my regrets, things still been said and done. There's not a part of me that wants to say no.
You've seen them doing lots of routine trim at this farm. The feet are fantastically well kept here. Out of a herd of around 700 cows, I think there are about 7 lame cows.
1 in
7 too
100.
many, but 7 is a fantastic machine.
Yeah, 1% is not bad.
As she walks away, she's clearly still lame, but she is putting all of the pressure through that block. And that in itself is mission complete for us. All we can do is make her foot more functional for her and reduce the pain levels, hopefully inspiring the recovery period. Recovery process.